Most people lose because they overthink and hesitate. Thomas Shelby wins because he acts while others drown in doubt. If you want power, if you want clarity, if you want results, you must learn to think less and move with purpose. Because in this world, the fastest mind isn't the one that thinks the most, the one that decides. Overthinking is the enemy of power. Most people don't lose because they're unprepared or incapable. They lose because their mind become a battlefield of doubts, fears, imagined outcomes, and worst-case scenarios. They freeze long before the world ever has a chance to test them. Thomas Shelby doesn't win because he has perfect information. He wins because he refuses to drown in unnecessary thinking. Overthinking destroys momentum, and momentum is everything. When you hesitate, you give your fear time to grow. You give your competition time to move. You give life a chance to pass you by. And the truth is brutal. The world does not pause for your doubts. Most people believe that thinking more makes them smarter, but thinking more only creates loops, mental spirals that drown clarity. Thomas Shelby's power comes from something far rarer: focused thought, followed by decisive action. He trusts three things: his preparation, his instincts, his ability to adapt. He doesn't waste time imagining every possible failure. He chooses a direction, steps into it, and handles problems as they appear, because reality favors the person who moves, not the person who waits for perfect certainty. Overthinking is a slow poison. It convinces you that standing still is safer, when in truth, standing still is the most dangerous choice of all. Every missed opportunity in your life, every moment you stayed silent, stayed hesitant, stayed afraid, was the result of thinking too much and acting too little. If you want to develop a Shelby-level mindset, you must understand this: clarity comes after action, not before. You don't find confidence and then move. You move, and confidence forms as a result. You don't need a perfect plan. You don't need absolute certainty. You only need a direction, a decision, and the courage to take the first step. Because in a world of overthinkers, the person who can think less and act more will always rise above the rest. Thinking less gives you tactical clarity. Most people confuse overthinking with strategy. They believe that if they analyze something long enough, their truth will magically appear. But in reality, the deeper they think, the more blind they become. Thomas Shelby doesn't operate with noise in his mind. His strength comes from simplicity, focus, and silence. The ability to strip a moment down to what actually matters. Because when your mind is quiet, you see what others miss. Stillness sharpens perception. Noise is the enemy of clarity. When your mind is cluttered, you project your fears onto situations, you misread people, and you start fighting battles that exist only in your imagination. But when your mind becomes still, when you stop explaining, justifying, worrying, your vision becomes sharper than anyone around you. You start noticing the motive behind someone's smile, the hesitation in a person's voice, the power dynamic in a room, the vulnerability in your opponent, the hidden opportunity everyone else walked past. Stillness is not passive. Stillness is surveillance. It is reading the world without being distracted by your own noise. Emotion clouds judgment. Stillness cuts through it. Most people make decisions in emotional storms: anger, fear, ego, insecurity. But decisions made in chaos are almost always wrong. Thomas Shelby's strength is emotional neutrality. He doesn't react with impulsiveness. He responds with calculation. Stillness gives you the space to separate the situation from your feelings. You're no longer controlled by what you fear, what you want, what you hope. What do you think others expect? You operate from logic, not turbulence. And in high-stakes moments, logic is the only weapon that never betrays you. When the mind is clear, the path is obvious, the truth is simple. Life is not as complicated as your thoughts make it. Most decisions come down to a few important factors, but overthinking buries them under layers of imaginary problems. Thomas Shelby removes the unnecessary. He focuses on what is real, what is controllable, what is actionable, what moves him forward fastest. He understands a timeless principle. When the mind is quiet, choices become easy. When the mind is loud, even simple decisions feel impossible. The strategic advantage of stillness: the person who thinks the least, not because they are careless, but because they are clear, always holds the advantage. Stillness is not weakness. Stillness is a weapon. It allows you to read rooms faster than others, predict moves before they happen, stay calm under pressure, control the pace of any interaction, keep your intentions hidden, act when others are stuck thinking. This is why Thomas Shelby can stand in silence and still dominate the room. He is not wasting energy on internal chaos. His mind is open, observant, razor focused. Stillness gives him power, because stillness creates clarity, and clarity wins wars long before they're ever fought. Simplicity beats intelligence. Every time people believe winning requires brilliant, complex plans, layers of calculation, endless mental gymnastics. But Thomas Shelby shows the opposite. You don't win because you think more. You win because you think clean. The world is full of people who are smart but scattered, intelligent but overwhelmed, capable but mentally crowded. They drown in their own thoughts. Thomas Shelby doesn't. He reduces every situation to its essence. The one move that matters, the one truth that decides the outcome, the one weakness the other person hopes you won't see. Overthinkers lose because they chase everything. When you think too much, you try to account for every possibility, every outcome, every angle. But life doesn't reward people who prepare for everything. Life rewards people who move. Overthinkers choke on options. They waste time solving problems that will never exist, while the world moves without them. By the time they act, the moment is already gone. Thomas Shelby moves fast because he doesn't overcomplicate. He sees the one opening that matters and walks straight through it. Simplicity makes you impossible to predict. Complicated minds leave complicated trails. Their intentions leak, their hesitations are visible, their fear is easy to read. But a simple mind, a focused mind, it is silent, sharp and unreadable. People can't counter you when they can't figure you out. Thomas Shelby doesn't explain, he doesn't show his calculation, he doesn't announce what he's thinking. He makes his moves quietly, cleanly, unapologetically. And that simplicity becomes a form of psychological warfare. Strategy is not about thinking more. It's about thinking right. A man who thinks too much becomes his own enemy. A man who thinks simply becomes untouchable. Simplicity forces you to identify the real threat, the real goal, the real path, the real cost, the real opportunity. Most people miss these because they're busy wrestling with thoughts that has nothing to do with the outcome. But Thomas Shelby cuts everything down to the root. He sees the truth faster because he removes the noise sooner. Simple minds execute. Complicated minds hesitate. The most dangerous man is not the one who thinks the most. It is the one who thinks clearly and acts without hesitation. Because clarity creates confidence. Confidence creates momentum. And momentum wins battles long before intelligence does. Thomas Shelby wins because he simplifies the world around him until it becomes something clean, predictable, controllable. He doesn't need a genius. He needs precision. He needs focus. He needs the discipline to ignore everything that does not matter. And that discipline turns simplicity into power. Emotionless decisions are the sharpest weapons. Most men lose because their decisions bleed. They let fear stain their judgment, let anger twist their logic, let pride speak louder than truth. Thomas Shelby doesn't. He understands the brutal rule of power. The moment emotion enters the decision is already compromised. Emotion makes you slow. It blinds you, pulls you toward the wrong battles, makes you protect the wrong people, and turns your focus into fog. Cold minds win because cold minds see the world exactly as it is, not as they wish it to be. Emotion exposes you. Weak men reveal themselves every time they feel something. Their voice tightens, their breath shifts, their eyes betray them. Emotion leaves a scent on your choices, and predators follow it. But Thomas Shelby learned early, silence keeps you alive, and emotion keeps you exposed. So he kills his feelings before they kill his clarity. Not because he is heartless, but because survival demands it. Cold judgment cuts cleaner than passion. Ever will a man controlled by emotion fights battles he can't win. A man controlled by clarity fights only battles he has already won. Emotion makes you react too quickly, speak too soon, trust too easily, attack the wrong enemy, defend the wrong ally, stay in places you should have left long ago. Cold thinking removes all of that. Thomas Shelby doesn't ask, "How do I feel?" He asks, "What must be done?" And that question alone changes everything. Emotionless doesn't mean empty. It means focused. People misunderstand coldness. They assume it means a man has no heart. But a cold mind isn't empty, it's disciplined. It directs emotion instead of drowning in it. It chooses where to spend energy instead of wasting it on impulse. Thomas Shelby still feels, but he does not let those feelings make decisions for him. That's the difference between a victim and a leader. A victim reacts. A leader calculates. The man who controls his emotion controls the battlefield. Power belongs to the man who stays calm while others crumble under pressure. When you remain cold, you see your enemy's mistakes, you hear the truth under their lies, you watch their confidence collapse. You stay stable while they fall apart. You choose your moves with surgical precision. Cold minds cut through chaos. Thomas Shelby wins not because he's the strongest, but because he can slow the world down when others lose control. Emotion is noise. Cold clarity is the knife. And the man holding the knife always wins. Conclusion: the man who feels last wins first in the end. The world doesn't reward the loudest man, the most emotional man, or the man who constantly proves how he feels. It rewards the man who can stay calm while everyone else breaks. Emotion is natural, but control is a skill, a weapon, a shield, a strategy. And Thomas Shelby embodies a truth most men never learn. If emotion rules you, the world will. If you rule your emotions, you rule the world. The strongest version of you is not the one who feels nothing, but the one who knows when to feel and when to lock it away. Because when chaos comes, when pressure rises, when enemies circle, the man who keeps his mind steady will always be the man who walks out alive. Remember this: calm is not weakness, cold is not cruelty, stillness is not softness. It is discipline. It is power. It is the difference between losing control and taking control. And in this world, the man who controls himself controls everything.